Once upon a time, in a small but achieving village, there lived a beautiful palace where King Adebayo and Queen Chioma lived. They ruled the village with kindness and wisdom, and the people of the village loved them dearly. King Adebayo and Queen Chioma had one child, a little princess named Adana. Because she was their only child, they loved her very much and gave her anything she wanted. Princess Adana was a bright and curious child. She had a cheerful smile and a laugh that made everyone around her happy. Her parents loved her very much and showered her with love and gifts. They thought that by giving her everything she wanted, they were ensuring her happiness. From the moment she could talk, Adana was pampered and spoiled. If she wanted a toy, her parents got it for her right away. If she wanted sweets, the best cooks in the village prepared them for her. If she wanted to play, everyone stopped what they were doing to join her. Adana always had whatever she wanted. As Adana grew older, she began to ask for more and more stuffs, and her requests became fancier and more expensive. She wanted the finest clothes, the most expensive jewelry, and the biggest parties. King Adebayo and Queen Chioma always complied with her wishes, no matter how difficult they were to fulfill. For their part, the villagers also indulged the princess, believing it was their duty to keep her happy. After all, she was the princess of one of the most generous kings they had ever known. One sunny afternoon, Adana was playing in the palace courtyard. She saw something shiny in the kitchen and ran to check what it was. It was a sharp knife used by the cooks to prepare meals. All of a sudden, Adana's eyes were filled with curiosity. "Mother, I want to play with that shiny thing," Adana exclaimed, pointing at the knife. Queen Chioma, who always cared for Adana's safety, said, "No, my dear, that is a knife and it is very dangerous. You could hurt yourself." But Adana was not used to being told no. She became agitated and began to cry, her tears flowing like rivers. "I want to play with it," she demanded, her voice echoing through the palace. Queen Chioma sighed deeply. She had always given in to Adana's demands, and this time was no different. "All right, but be very careful," she said, handing the knife to Adana. Adana's face brightened with joy as she held the knife in her small hands. She ran outside to show it to her friends, spinning and pretending to be a warrior princess. But in her excitement, she tripped over a stone and fell. The knife slipped from her hands and cut her leg. Adana screamed in pain, and the palace guards rushed to her aid. Blood dripped from the wound, and her mother quickly called for the village healer. The healer cleaned and bandaged the cut, but despite his best efforts, a scar remained on Adana's leg. Adana was embarrassed by the mark and often covered it with long dresses or by sitting in a way that hid her leg. Despite this, she continued to receive everything she wanted from her parents and the villagers. The incident with the knife was soon forgotten, and life in the palace returned to normal. Years passed and Princess Adana grew into a beautiful young woman. She was graceful and kind, but her spoiled nature sometimes showed. She still believed that she could get whatever she wanted whenever she wanted it. The scar on her leg, though mostly forgotten, was a reminder of the day she had played with a knife. Adana's beauty was renowned throughout the land. Her skin was as smooth as silk, her hair long and shining, and her eyes bright and full of life. Suitors from far and wide came to seek her hand in marriage, but Adana was not interested in any of their proposals. She believed that she was destined for greatness, and her ideal partner would surely come through for her. One day, a royal messenger arrived at the palace with exciting news. Your Highness, the great Prince Adiola of the neighboring kingdom has asked for Princess Adane's hand in marriage, he announced. King Adebayo and Queen Chioma were overjoyed. Prince Adiola was known far and wide for his bravery and wisdom. The alliance between their kingdoms would bring prosperity and peace. Adana was very excited at the prospect of marrying a prince as renowned as Adeola. She dreamed of the grand wedding they would have and the wonderful life they would share. She imagined herself as a queen, ruling alongside her husband and being adored by all. Preparations for the grand wedding began immediately. The palace was adorned with colorful decorations, and the village was set ablaze with excitement. Adana herself was thrilled at the prospect of marrying a prince and becoming a queen. The days leading up to the wedding were filled with joyous activities. There were feasts, dances, and ceremonies to celebrate the union of the two kingdoms. Adana was the center of attention, and she reveled in the admiration and praise she received from everyone around her. On the day of the wedding, guests from far and wide gathered to witness the union of the two kingdoms. The palace was decorated with vibrant flowers and bright lights, creating a magical atmosphere. Drummers drummed, dancers danced, and singers sang. The air was thick with the aroma of delicious food prepared for the feast. Adana's friends and family marveled at her beauty and grace as she prepared for the most important day of her life. Her dress, a stunning piece of art, was adorned with intricate patterns and sparkling beads that made her look like a goddess. As Adana walked down the aisle, her dress shifted slightly, revealing the scar on her leg. Surprise filled the air as the guests noticed the mark. Princess Adiola's mother, Queen Amara, became agitated. She stepped forward and examined the scar closely. Per their customs and traditions, it is not befitting for a prince to marry a woman with such scar. This is unacceptable, Queen Amara declared loudly. A princess with such a flaw cannot marry a prince. This is against our traditions. The wedding came to an abrupt halt. Adana stood there, stunned and heartbroken. Tears streamed down her face as she watched the guest murmur and leave the palace. Adana's heart was shattered. The vibrant energy of the celebration turned into silence. She could hardly believe what was happening. The dream she had held onto for so long was crumbling before her eyes. She looked at her parents seeking comfort, but saw the same shock and sorrow reflected in their faces. The once joyous crowd disappeared, leaving behind an air of disappointment and sadness. The colorful decorations seemed dulled and lifeless. Adana's beautiful dress, once a symbol of happiness, now felt like a burden. She rushed back to her room, tears streaming down her cheeks. Adana was devastated. Her dreams of becoming a queen were shattered, and she felt a deep sense of shame and regret. She asked her parents, "Why did you always allow me to have my way?" she cried. "This would not have happened if only you had corrected my ways. I would have shed some tears, but that can't actually kill a child." King Adebayo and Queen Chioma were heartbroken to see their daughter in such pain. They realized their indulgence had not prepared her for the real world. "We have failed you, my dear," Queen Chioma said, tears in her eyes. "We should have disciplined you when necessary and taught you that not everything you want is good for you." Adane's days became filled with sorrow. She withdrew from her friends and spent most of her time alone in her room. The villagers, who had once admired and adored her, now whispered about her behind closed doors. They wondered how the pampered princess would ever recover from such a public humiliation. Days turned into weeks, and Adana slowly began to come to terms with her situation. She started to spend time with the villagers and discovered a sense of fulfillment in serving others. She realized that her value didn't come from her title or her looks, but from her actions and heart. Thanks for watching. Kindly support us by giving a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell icon to get notified about our latest uploads. Leave a comment below with your thoughts and share this video with your friends. See you next time.